everyone. My name is Jamon McKinney, or you can just call me Juice because that is my nickname. Welcome, everyone, to the Juice Alert, episode number 19. If you have not subscribed to the Juice Alert already, be sure to do that right about now. You will not regret it. You can find the Juice Alert on YouTube as well as podcasting platforms. Also, be sure to follow me on social media. If you want to troll me on Twitter or connect with me on a very high positive note, you can find all my social media platforms in the description of this episode. But today, I'm joined by a very special guest. He's been on the show in the past. In the past, we talked about general managers and some Detroit Lions football. His name is Joe Disher, a very good friend of mine, a guy that I've known since kindergarten. We played on the same varsity baseball team in high school, a team that went on to win two straight state championships in the state of Ohio. That was very, very fun. My good friend Joe Disher joins the show as he attends the University of Cincinnati. He's a student there. And he kind of works behind the scenes with the football team a little bit. You know, he is in the sports administration program. He'll talk about, how fun that program is for him. You can also follow my good friend Joe Disher on social media. I will put the links to those social media pages in the description of this episode. We'll talk about life at the University of Cincinnati and pretty much just everything Cincinnati related today, in regards to their football team and the university. We'll talk about Luke Fickell, what makes him a great head coach. My good friend Joe has worked with and met Luke Fickell in the past. Luke Fickell's a very good guy. And Cincinnati football, they're having a very good season so far. Now, to put some things in context, this show was recorded in August, actually. I just have not had the time to, kind of really sit down and edit and focus on this show specifically because, I produce a lot of content for you guys, and to put things in context, at one point during the summer, I recorded about 20 videos for you guys, in one day. Not to mention I had to go in and edit those videos, see if the audio is good and all that stuff. So listen, I work very hard on this show. Sometimes I don't get things out right when I want them to be put out, but I believe in the quality of the content that I put out, and I don't try to rush things. So this was recorded in August, so if something is a little bit off in this episode, or you're wondering why I'm going to be in a different shirt and why my hair has grown ever since this last episode, it's because this episode was recorded at a different location, my house. I'm in my college dorm right now, okay? Okay, so it was recorded at my house about 3 months ago. So that's to put that in context right there, but without further ado, I present to you guys a very good show with my good friend Joe Disher, an aspiring NFL general manager. That's his dream job, to be an NFL general manager one day. And I present to you guys a very good show talking about some Cincinnati football and life at UC. Hope you guys enjoy. Welcome back to the Juice Alert. I'm joined once again by a dear good friend of mine who I've known since kindergarten. Joe, how you doing today, man?
Doing pretty good, man.
You go to the University of Cincinnati. So I just wanted to ask you a couple questions about going there. I go to the University of Toledo, a college in northern Ohio. That's the college that was best for me. I like it there. So I wanted to ask you this question. What do you like most about Cincinnati? Why did you choose to go to Cincinnati? What are some of your hardest classes? And maybe give people a gem or two about Cincinnati that they maybe should know if they're considering going there.
Okay. So first of all, I love Cincinnati. I love UC. I love being a Bearcat. I guess, where should I start out? I guess I'll say it took some time for me to get used to Cincinnati, as do most colleges that are at least an hour away from home. But I really do love it here in Cincinnati. It's really my home now, and I love just the urban atmosphere, and I love the sports scene we have. Cincinnati UC's campus is just a few blocks north of downtown Cincinnati, so it's a quick drive downtown. There is plenty of stuff to do, and the sports scene is great. Jamon and I will get into the football team later. Basketball team is also really good. So we have a lot of good teams down there, and we have a lot of nice facilities. And overall, campus, I'd say, is very nice. I love being on campus. So I think, honestly, some people don't know how big UC is. So I'll put this into perspective. I have some numbers here. Ohio State, which is biggest, uh, one of the biggest schools in even the nation. Ohio State has 46,000 undergraduate students. Okay, so not total students, just undergraduates. Ohio State has 46,000. Cincinnati has 35,000. And that's undergrads. So my freshman class had 8,000 kids in it. So while UC isn't, UC is not Ohio State big, but we are fairly big. I mean, I think we're easily the second biggest school in Ohio. So there is a lot of people down there. You will meet a lot of people. And I was a guy who was looking for a bigger college. The smaller schools didn't really appeal to me. I like big. I'm a very social guy, so it really worked out well for me. And you meet people all the time there at Cincinnati. So you want me to go into my program?
Before we do that, talk about maybe what's your hardest class that you take there.
So, that's a really good question. I would say my hardest class, I took a few classes. I took a economics and sports class, a diversity in sport, a intro to sport management, and then I took some gen eds, like psychology, stats 1 and 2, English composition. Honestly, I think the hardest class for me was probably stats. I like math, but I'm not like great at math. Stats was pretty hard. Those stats 1 and 2. I mean, I got through it. I finished with a good grade at both stats 1 and 2, but it really took me a while to kind of get some of the stuff. It's a very interesting perspective on like the math world and everything when you look at stats. So I'd probably say that was my hardest class that I had to take this past year.
Got it. Now, you, of course, are in the sports administration program, correct?
Correct.
Gotcha. So talk about that program and kind of what captivated you towards, getting into a program like that. Obviously, you are a guy that aspires to one day potentially be, hopefully, an NFL general manager. That's kind of the thing that you're kind of, hoping and banking that you can, get at. I actually heard you guys visited the NFL Scouting Combine. That probably was a very jaw-dropping experience. Talk about visiting the Scouting Combine and just the overall program you're in.
Okay, so yes, I'm in the sports administration program. A lot of colleges will call it sports management. It's the same thing, management, administration, same major, just varies on the college on how they say it. So that is honestly what really drew me to UC. The program there is extremely successful. They have amazing professors. I love all the professors I have in the program. They've been in the sports field for 20 plus years. All the faculty and all the professors have a great relationship with the professional sports teams around the area, which really appealed to me. That's what appealed to me the most, is the connections. And that's what you need when you want to go into the sports world. You need people to know, and you need people to know you. And you get connections through other connections. So let's see here. I'll start with this. An awesome opportunity I got through my major is my internship with the football team at Cincinnati. So I work as a recruiting assistant for the football team. So basically I help with all things football recruiting related. During the week, I'll sit in the recruiting office and do anything our director of recruiting and scouting, who's my boss, needs me to do. I input a lot of data into our databases like height, weight, notes from the coaches who watch their film. I'll make magnets of our top targets and put them on the whiteboards. On game days, we have a lot of high school guys visit, sometimes up to like 85 guys a game. That was the most we ever had this season. We tailgate with them, bring them into a basketball arena for a presentation about UC life, and then we take them onto the field to watch warm-ups. So it's really cool, and this was all brought to me through my major. So I get to be on the field while the team is warming up. It's really awesome. I mean, I get to be like 5 feet away from the O-linemen and the linebackers that warm up by us. I'm literally standing right next to them with their full pads on and everything. So I love being a Bearcat, and I think they're really going to help me get to where I want to be, like you said, which way down the road would hopefully be a general manager. But starting off, I really just want to start in a scouting department for an NFL team, specifically be like an area scout, hopefully after I get an internship there. And then down the road, be like a college scouting coordinator or director of personnel or stuff like that, and then eventually being a GM. So I guess I'll talk about now the things you can do in sports administration. If anyone's considering the major, you can do so many things with it. I mean, the sport industry is just billions and billions and billions of dollars in it. I mean, sports is huge in our society. And this might surprise you. A lot of people in my major do not want to do anything related to what I want to do. A lot of people in my major are leaning more towards like marketing and ticket sales and consumer relationships and stuff like that. We have a few guys that I know who want to be coaches. There's really a wide variety of things you can do with the major. Basically, anything you can think of in sports falls under the sports administration category. So now I'll go into my combine experience. So yes, I did get to go to the combine, but it wasn't okay. I wasn't like sitting in Lucas Oil Stadium watching Henry Ruggs run the 40. Okay, I got to go to the combine conference, which was an amazing experience. It was the Sports Management Worldwide Conference. We had a bunch of great speakers that got to speak to us. So the head speaker was Adam Schefter from ESPN. I mean, everyone who knows who Adam Schefter is, and I actually got to get a picture with him, which was awesome. Other guys who spoke to us was guys from Pro Football Focus were there. The 49ers president was there. Former Buccaneers GM Mark Dominic was there. A 49ers pro scout was there. Multiple NFL agents were there to talk to us. Ticket marketing guys were there to talk to us. It was just an overall really cool experience. It was an incredibly long day. We were there for hours. But as a bonus, at the end, we had like an hour and a half to kill while we were waiting on our bus to pick us up. So me and a few buddies of mine, we were walking around the hotel, and we stumbled into the convention center, which is connected to the hotel. And we started. There was a bunch of people down the hall, down this really long hallway. So we started walking down there, and we realized that something happened with the combine. And mind you, we are all in our, you had to dress up for this, so we're all in our suits and stuff, and we have name tags, or not name tags. We have like lanyards with official stuff on it, and we walk in, and they're holding the bench press in there, and we get to go sit up there and watch all the linebackers do their bench press. Actually, we saw a bunch of scouts and coaches from the NFL teams, and they didn't say anything when we walked in because we looked really official. So we got to watch guys like Patrick Queen do their bench press, and all these guys were just sitting, like 10 feet from us. And it was just really awesome to see. And then while we were leaving, the D-line group actually walked in. So we got to see all the D-line guys, like, Javon Kinlaw, other guys like that, walk right by him. And these guys were just huge. So it was a really awesome experience. I'm really happy with my major. I picked the right school for me. Cincinnati is really great. The program is successful, and I think it's just really going to help me in life. And I also just, love the social life at Cincinnati, the just all-around sports scene. It's a great time.
Got it. That's some very interesting insight right there. That probably was very fun going to the combine, seeing guys like Kinlaw, Queen. That probably was a jaw-dropping experience, no doubt. So good for you, man. Yeah, so I want to transition to the Cincinnati football team, UC football. Now, before I actually get into the actual football team and Luke Fickell, things of that nature, you were a fan in the stands at the UCF game last year. So I wanted to get your thoughts on how what that experience was like, because that was the first win versus a ranked team that Cincinnati got in 10 years. That was a big time win. Talk about that UCF game.
UCF game was awesome. Okay, so one of the best things about campus at Cincinnati is the football stadium is in the middle of campus. Okay, so it's not like Ohio State where the football stadium's a few blocks down, or it's not a 10-minute drive to the football stadium. It is right there in the middle of campus. You walk by it every day. You can literally walk through the stadium. It's open 24/7. You can go out onto the field, play frisbee with your friends, play football, walk through it to get to class. So, I mean, you get to walk by the football stadium, and they're preparing for Friday night the whole week. I mean, they redo, all the paint and everything, just getting ready for it. Our stadium isn't like super huge like the Shoe or the Big House that'll hold over 100,000 people. Our stadium's called Nippert Stadium. It holds, I'd say, about 40,000. Holds about 40,000 fans. But just the week leading up, it was Central Florida week. Everyone loved it. Atmosphere was great. The band was out playing in our main street. It was just great. So, like I said earlier, I work as a recruiting assistant for Cincinnati, and on game days we have jobs to do. We have to tend to these high school players. So I normally get to watch all the games, but I'll get to the games just a little late because I have other priorities, and I have to get all the recruits in their seats first. Then I can go find my seat in the student section. Well, with the Central Florida game being on a Friday, all the high school guys have games Friday night. So there was no recruiting needed that day. So we didn't have any visitors on campus. So I really didn't have anything to do. So I got to be in the student section, from kickoff. And I'd say I was probably 20 rows up off the field. And it was just an amazing atmosphere. It was sold out. It was the second largest crowd ever that we had, and it was the largest student section ever that Nippert Stadium had, or that Cincinnati has had. I believe it was about 9,000 students, and everyone just goes crazy. It was a tight game. Defense really stepped up. I mean, defense played out of their mind all game. We had a pick six. I forget what quarter, probably about the third quarter. But that pick six, oh my gosh. I mean, the stadium was crazy. I mean, you felt like the stadium was about to fall down because everyone was jumping up and down. And it was just awesome. It was loud. The sound guys that do the sound for the stadium do a great job to get everyone pretty loud. So I loved that night. It was a great night for Bearcats football.
Got it. That probably was a jaw-dropping experience. Like I said, I want to talk about the actual football team because this is a team in Cincinnati that was ranked as high as 17 last year. I talked about the UCF win, and this is a team that has won 11 games back-to-back seasons. In 2016, 2017, the team combined to win 8 games. So this team is definitely on the rise as far as, the up and rising teams in college football that are pretty underrated, I would say. So talk about where Cincinnati is as a football program, and talk about, how this team has kind of been on the rise the last couple of years.
Oh, definitely on the rise. Like you said, 11 wins past 2 seasons, and it's crazy. We're getting even better. This past year, we had our highest rated recruiting class in school history. So we're still getting better. I mean, guys are coming in like 4-star Evan Prater, who played in the Under Armour All-American game. He was a top 40 player in the nation, comes to Cincinnati. 4-star outside linebacker Jaheim Thomas, who had offers from everywhere in the country, came to Cincinnati. Stud 4-star receiver Jaden Thompson was an Illinois commit, switched to us. We have corner Sammy Anderson, from Trotwood, that's around the area. And we have a D tackle, Justin Watley. He's really good. So really just a great freshman class coming in this year. And, that's the future. That's the future of your football team And this is the greatest class we've ever had. To put it into perspective, and I know stars aren't everything, okay? Once you get out onto the field, stars don't matter at all. But stars mean a little bit of something, like if you're a 5-star, you're one of the most talented people in the country, and the chances of you being a star in college football is pretty high. So in this past recruiting class, the one that was our highest in school history, we had 3 4-stars, okay? The rest of the American Athletic Conference, which is what we're in, had 0. Not a single other school had a 4-star commit. Not even Central Florida. And they've had a lot of success here recently. So we also have a lot of guys committed already in our 2021 class. They're about to be seniors in high school. And I think one of the best things that Fickell and our staff is doing is getting the in-state kids to play for us, especially keeping Cincy guys in the city to be that hometown hero. It's special to play for your hometown college, and we have a lot of guys on the team who are from around the area. So I firmly believe UC football is on the rise. I think we're going to start to see UC football start winning some AAC championships here real soon. We lost the AAC championship game last year to Memphis, who went on to play a New Year's Six Bowl versus Penn State. We lost to them. It was a great game, but we just came up a little bit short. But I think we're going to start seeing us win these AAC championships. And as we all know, the best group of 5 team every year always makes a New Year's Six Bowl. This past year it was Memphis. Like I said, they played Penn State. I forget what bowl game it was, but it was a New Year's Six Bowl. So, and I think you're going to start seeing Cincinnati start to make some New Year's Six Bowls. I mean that's a huge deal because you're going to get matched up with a really good Power 5 team. And if we can start, competing with them and maybe even win a bowl game, that'll be huge. I think we have the right guy moving forward. I think Fickell is a perfect coach for the job. I'm hoping he stays in Cincinnati for a long time. And as long as he is the coach, we have a very, very bright future.
No doubt. I want to transition actually to Luke Fickell, a guy that has done a very good job in Cincinnati. The first year was kind of choppy, which is kind of expected. When you're bringing in a new coach, the first year he's just kind of, establishing the culture, trying to turn things around. But he's turned his team around pretty quickly. The last 2 years, I think he's done a great job. He seems like a player's coach. He seems like a great guy. And like you mentioned, he's recruited fairly well, at Cincinnati. In 2018, you guys had the number 1 class in the AAC. Talk about Luke Fickell as the head coach. What do people need to know about Luke Fickell? What kind of coach is he? And what's it like working with a guy like Luke Fickell, who seems like a pretty darn good head coach?
So Fickell is awesome. Great guy. Extremely nice to everyone. I think everyone in the program seems to love him. And honestly, the whole university loves him. He had some struggles at OSU. He had 1 year there. It didn't really go as planned. They had scandals. That was not his fault at all. He got put into a bad situation. But he eventually makes his way to UC. And I think he's just perfect for the job. He is definitely a player's coach, but he does not put up with any nonsense, which is honestly kind of the perfect coach. Okay, you don't want a guy who's too easy on the players that they can get away with anything, but you don't need a Bill Belichick in college football to be successful. Saban is really strict, but Saban's, Alabama's different. This is Cincinnati, okay?
Yeah, really quickly, not to cut you off, but these are college kids, kind of be relatable, you know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. These are 18-year-old kids that you're talking to. These guys are not in the league yet. They're not established. You need to, you need to be able to relate to them and treat them how they want to be treated, but definitely not putting up with any nonsense. Fickell definitely scared us a little bit with the Michigan State rumors this past winter, but I really never thought he was leaving. I think he knows he wants to be in Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati is right for him. And I looked at the Michigan State opportunity, Yeah, it's a big school, but
maybe not the right time. Maybe not the right time.
Yeah, not the right time at all. I don't think anyone really wants that job. You're not going to be good in the Big Ten. The Big Ten's really high right now, and the American Athletic Conference is also really high. I mean, we have Cincinnati, we have Memphis, and we have Central Florida, who are probably the cream of the crop. And I mean, Central Florida with their whole, fake national championships, whatever. However you feel about Central Florida, you can't take away the fact that they went, 29-0 or whatever they went. It was very high, whatever their record was in their 3 seasons of success. But I got to talk to Fickell a few times with my internship. So after home wins, I will be in the players' hallway, and I'll walk by him, and I'll always tell him, "Oh, good game, coach," because this past year we didn't lose at home, and I only worked home games. I don't go to the away games, but he's always like, "Oh, thanks, man," and just whenever someone talks to Fickell, he's going to make the time to relate to you and just be extremely nice. Like, obviously, me and him had a 5-second conversation. It wasn't even a conversation, but you can get the vibe when someone is focused on talking to you, I think my favorite story, honestly, about Fickell from this past year was one of our last home games. I was in one of the suites in the basketball arena with a safety commit we had. And this safety was ranked very high. And he had been committed to us for a while. And Fickell came in, actually, and he sits right next to me at this table, and he starts talking to the safety's family, the safety himself, and me. It was really awesome. I got to see firsthand how he interacts with his players and their families. And that's a huge part of recruiting, is appealing to the families. You're not going to send your son somewhere that you didn't like or you didn't have a good feeling about, okay? So you can just tell the way he treats everyone he meets, the way he connects with people. I mean, that's one of the hardest jobs in America, I think, is to be a college football coach. I mean, you are talking to hundreds of people on the daily. You have to know so much. I mean, this is a guy who's not even on the team yet. And Fickell is talking to him about, Fickell remembered who he plays in his, in the state playoffs. He remembered who they play, and he's talking to him about Kentucky football. This is where the safety was from. I mean, Fickell's not from Kentucky, but he knows so much about what's going on that he can create conversation with anyone. So that just goes to show just how great of a guy he is. And, the wins speak for themselves. Back-to-back 11-win seasons. If we played a full season this year, I really think it'd be another 11-win season. We'll get into this later, but we have a lot of guys returning on the team. So, yeah, I love Fickell. I'm extremely excited to, possibly talk to him some more this year. I'm sure the time will come again where I'm talking to a recruit and their family, and Fickell will stop by, and I'll get to see how he interacts with them. So, everyone in Cincinnati loves Fickell. I hope he's here for a really long time. All the students love Fickell. The players love Fickell. The administrators love him. Really just too many good things to say about him.
Got it. Very high praise about Luke Fickell right there. So we'll transition a little bit to some of the expectations you might have for the Cincinnati football team this year. You got games versus Memphis, obviously. You have to travel to UCF. Now, there's not probably going to be a whole lot of fans in these stands, so that's kind of irrelevant. And by the way, I am just kind of assuming that maybe we have a college football season, so just keep that in context. But yeah, maybe if we have a season, at UCF, at Temple, Houston. I think Houston's actually a team that we should actually look out for, because I think Dana Holgorsen is a very underrated coach. He did a very good job at West Virginia. It was kind of choppy last year at Houston, but I think that he can potentially turn that team around. So what are your expectations for Cincinnati this year? You mentioned how you think that they can win 11 games this year once again, correct?
So I have very high expectations for this year. And like I mentioned earlier, we did lose the AAC title game to Memphis. It was on the road at Memphis. the American Conference does something a little different than like the Big Ten, where say the Big Ten championship every year is held in Indianapolis. Well, the number one seed in AAC, whoever has the best record, gets to host the title game, which is, you know, a huge advantage if you get to host it. But if you have to go on the road, you're playing another road game. So we had to go at Memphis, which definitely was a disadvantage. And we took it to the wire, but we just could not come through with the win. However, we have a really talented team this year. We have a lot of guys coming back. I'll start on offense. We have QB Desmond Ridder coming back for his third year now. He'll be started for a third year in a row. Really looking for him to just have a great year. You know, he struggled with a few injuries last year, but he's fully healthy. Another year in the system. I love Ridder. I think he's going to have a great year this year. And at running back, we have Jared Dokes, who's going to finally be that number one guy. You know, he's been sitting behind a few guys. He sat behind Mike Warren last year, who had a terrific season. I forget how many yards he ran for, but I think he ran for like 1,500 yards. We ran a lot last season, and Dokes is definitely ready to be that guy. Extremely talented. Our O-line is actually looking a lot better. Our O-line really struggled last year. But at left tackle, we now have James Hudson, who is actually a Michigan transfer. He came from Michigan. He was ineligible last year, but got to play the bowl game. He dominated that bowl game. He's going to be playing on Sundays, okay? He's going to be drafted. He is going to anchor that offensive line. So I'm really excited to watch the offensive line this year. Most of the guys are coming back. So I think they should be greatly improved. Now, the receivers. We have a totally revamped receiver room this year. You know, last year we had some troubles in the room. This year we have a lot more guys who will contribute. This year we have Alec Pierce is coming back. He was our leading receiver last year. You know who I'm about to talk about, our guy Blue Smith. I think he's really going to emerge as one of our best players on the team this year.
By the way, we actually got a chance to meet Blue, at a game. You've obviously, encountered Blue because you go to Cincinnati, but he's a cool guy. He was a very good high school player, so I definitely believe in Blue Smith. But yeah, you can continue.
Yeah, for those of you guys wondering, me and Jamon went to a basketball tournament around our house, and Blue was there, and we both recognized him. And
former Ohio State wide receiver, former Ohio State guy.
Yep, definitely. Went to Ohio State for a year. Kind of realized it wasn't for him, so came to Cincinnati, and we are really excited about what Blue Smith can do. So then we have guys who will be working out of the slot, like Trey Tucker, really speedy guy. He was a freshman last year, and he was a track state champion, actually, for Ohio. And he is going to be working out of the slot this year. He's going to be a beast. Really confident about him. And we get some transfers, too, at the receiver position. We get a guy from Notre Dame to come in. We get another receiver from Arkansas. And then actually another Ohio State transfer, Garen Prater, who's Evan Prater's brother, will be eligible this year. So we have a lot of guys in that room. And I look for the wide receiver group to take a huge leap forward this year. So then on defense, we return a lot of guys also, which, is going to give us an advantage. I'll start with stud corner Ahmad Gardner. This guy was unbelievable last year. Played as a true freshman, and he had multiple huge interceptions last year returned for touchdowns. He has been getting a lot of praise from Pro Football Focus. I forget where he was ranked exactly, but I'm almost 100% sure he was in like their top 5 freshmen in all of college football last year. Not like non-Power 5, in all of college football. He was like top 5 freshman. I mean, that is crazy. He was graded so well. He's really a lockdown corner. He's going to be playing on Sundays. He's a guy, I don't even think he was ranked that high. I mean, stars don't matter, like I said earlier, but he played amazing last year. So then we have pass rusher, Myjai Sanders. He's a guy with a lot of speed and a lot of talent coming off the edge. He's definitely our best pass rusher. He's going to be able to set that tone this year. If he can get in the backfield a lot, that is really going to help us. And then just the D-line as a whole, I think is going to be really strong. It's a little interesting. We only play 3 down linemen at once because of our scheme. We run a 3-3-5, which is a little unusual, but Cincinnati does run it. So we have a lot of guys who can rotate into that 3-man D-line. We got guys like Malik Van, Elijah Ponder, many more guys, but just to name a few. They both played very well last year. And it's kind of crazy, honestly. Our defense was so great last year, and we did not even have our best player. Okay, so James Wiggins is one of our safeties, and he had a great 2018 year. And right before the season last year, I believe he tore his ACL. If I'm correct, I know he got injured for the year. I think it was the ACL. But I mean, he was our best player in 2018 on defense. So obviously, he's going to be the best player in 2019. Well, he got injured. Well, we bring him back for 2020 to pair him with another great safety, Derek Forrest, who broke out last year. He was a turnover forcing machine. I cannot wait to watch both of those guys back there. Our secondary is really going to be a strong suit of our team. I'm very confident they can lock up basically anyone in the AAC. And then finally, our linebacker position. Now, our 2 best linebackers did graduate this past year, so it's going to be tough replacing them. They were both really talented. I know one of them is actually on the Chiefs now. So it's going to be tough, but I think we got some guys who can fill in for them. They got some experience last year, and I think if they can really have a good year, our new young linebackers, the defense as a whole is going to be one of the best in the country.
Got it. Very good insight right there. Now, last final topic, just really briefly, give me a guy, maybe a recruit, or maybe a current player on the roster that maybe has some NFL potential. I know you talked about a couple guys that have some NFL potential. You can elaborate on them once again if you want, but maybe give me a player on the roster or recruit that you guys have gotten recently that you're really excited about, that a lot of people should be paying attention to, that maybe could have a breakout season this year, or maybe play on Sundays.
Okay, so definitely. I'd say 2 guys that are going to play this year. I'll go with Sauce Gardner, Ahmad Gardner, that corner I was talking about. I mean, this guy was truly unbelievable, and he's still here for 2 more years. We have him this year if we play, and then next year again. I'm not going to try and project what round he's going to go in just based off one season, but he's definitely going to be a guy who will get drafted. And then that left tackle, James Hudson. Again, I'm not going to try and project around. I've only seen him play 1 game in a Cincinnati uniform, but he was really highly ranked out of high school also, was a 4-star guy. So I think those are definitely 2 guys that have the NFL on their radar, as do a lot of guys on the team. But I guess if I had to pick a commit, I definitely got to go with Evan Prater. I mean, everyone around the Cincinnati program is excited for Evan Prater. It's not usual that Cincinnati has a guy playing in the Under Armour All-American game. I mean, this game is the best of the best. Only 6 quarterbacks in the entire nation got to play in this game. So, I mean, it truly is special. I don't believe he'll play this year just because we have Desmond Ridder at the helm. But when it is Evan Prater's turn to play quarterback, I think everyone is excited to see what he's going to do. And I think he's definitely a guy who will be playing on Sundays.
No doubt. Sounds good, man. Well, man, it was good talking to you. It was great catching up with you, talking some sports, anything else you want to plug in or, talk about or say before you exit the juice alert?
Not too much. Just everyone be safe out there. The world really is crazy in 2020. It seems like every day there's something new, Wear your mask, everyone. Be safe, and try and finish out 2020 strong.
Well said by my good friend Joe Disher. I'll put this out to you guys, and yeah, appreciate you, Joe, for coming on the show, man.
Thanks, man, for having me. It was a blast.
No doubt. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juice Alert Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juice Alert Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.